I object, Your Honor. This is a lie perpetrated by Mr. Baldwin to avenge the death of his own son.
You're not going to kill my boy.
Order! Another outburst like that, and I'll have you all brought up in contempt. Mr. Lansing.
Your Honor, Logan Hayes was not a member of the police department.
Your Honor, the victim was a police officer, and I can prove it.
How are you, Lulu? Good. Glad to see my brother. I was just sitting here enjoying the sun.
Okay. It's good to see that you're outside.
You can ask her. He wants to know if it's a good sign, me being out here.
Something like that, yes.
You can relax. I'm starting to see that this place could be good for me.
Yes, Lulu's making progress. She keeps up with her therapy. She'll be out of here before you know it.
Good.
I'll see you at 4. Yeah, okay.
Thanks, honey.
Bye.
You know, you really did scare the hell out of me.
Well, I scared myself, too, but I'm doing better now.
Any particular reason?
Being close to Mom has meant everything to me.
Your Honor, permission to approach.
Mr. Lansing, I realize that you were not aware of the victim's undercover status. If you would like time to consult with your client, in light of the fact that this is now a death penalty case, I'll allow it.
Your Honor, what Mr. Baldwin is suggesting is that Logan Hayes was a police officer at the time of his death. He is not a police officer, never has been.
I can supply documentation.
Oh, forged documents, I'm sure.
No, that's a serious allegation, Lansing.
Well, I think that the special prosecutor might be misled. Logan Hayes was not a police officer, Your Honor. Logan Hayes was indeed an ex-soldier who was dishonorably discharged.
Oh, that's just great. Smear the reputation of a man, a soldier, who served for this country.
The court is satisfied that Logan Hayes was working undercover for the PCPD at the time of his death. As such, his death would meet the parameters of murder with special circumstances.
Your Honor, I request a continuance to verify the authenticity
Denied.
of these...
I have already made my ruling on the victim's status. Do you want time for a recess with your client or not?
Yes, Your Honor, I would like a recess. I'm sorry, John. I don't know how Baldwin managed it. But you're literally fighting for your life.
So what would Mom have anything to do with you feeling better?
Being able to see her and hold her hand, it's put things into
I
perspective.
thought that's what you were afraid of, that you'd end up like her.
Well, not anymore. I've managed to deal with what happened to Logan.
Good. I mean, I guess I know what it feels like to be the one who survived. You know, I mean, on one hand, you want to be able to embrace life, on the other, trying to figure out why you were chosen to live and not someone else. There's no real logical explanation for it. And even if there was, it doesn't change what happened, you know?
Yeah.
You just gotta live your life, I guess, and move on.
Well, I'll always be sorry about what happened to Logan, but how I deal with it, how I live my life from here on out, depends on Shawnee.
Court will adjourn for a brief recess. 10 minutes, counselors.
I don't know about serving on a death penalty case.
Well, I think Johnny Zaccaro is guilty of sin, but I don't know that lethal injection is the answer.
Well, the trial hasn't even started yet. We need to wait and see what happens.
Miss Johnson is right.
You can call me Epiphany.
Allow me, madam.
Oh, thank you. I must be just very nervous. He said, what a difficult decision.
Well, but you're only one of 12. Don't worry. 12 after all.
Thank you.
Look at him, Trev. All those people are going to pay if my son is found guilty.
Your son's not going to be found guilty. And you know it.
All right, look. I have enough evidence that will create reasonable doubt and get you acquitted, but at this very moment, you are literally betting your life. You can enter a plea. You can get a reduced sentence and a guarantee that you're not going to be put to death.
How long?
5 years. They're going to give you 10. Good behavior.
If I spend even a day in jail, my father's gonna implode. Then he's gonna go after every single person who ever so much as served me a cup of coffee. No plea bargain.
So, you happy now?
It's not my fault that Baldwin decided to forge documents so it looks like his son was a cop.
You said you wanted Lulu away from Johnny at any cost. Does that include his death?
Shut up!
John, I have a strong defense, but there is compelling evidence against you. The further we get into this trial, the harder it's going to be to get a plea bargain.
Well, that's not an option for you or me. My father's not going to accept anything less than an acquittal. And if an acquittal doesn't happen, you are going to be the first in his line of fire. Now, you can bail and turn this case over to Trevor if you want. I'm not going to hold it against you.
No, I'm a better lawyer than my father. You're going to need my help.
Johnny's trial started today. I haven't been able to stop thinking about him.
Look, I know that you think nothing will ever feel right until you can be with him again, but for your own sake, don't make him, or really anyone else for that matter, your reason for living or holding on to your sanity.
You say that as if I can control it.
Well, you could if you focus on your recovery.
Okay, now I know that getting well starts with me, you know, like drugs and alcohol. You can't do it for anybody else, but part of my recovery is about being honest. And I would be lying if I didn't say Johnny is on my mind all the time, trial or no trial.
Hey, guys.
Hey!
Hey, you look fantastic.
Oh, I'm stronger than yesterday.
That's great. Do you need anything? Maybe something from
How
home?
is Johnny's trial going?
Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you are looking at a bloodthirsty killer, son of the infamous gangster, born into violence, raised in violence, and destined to wear the mantle of violence.
Special Prosecutor Baldwin would like for you to believe that the son should pay for the sins of the father. And the only problem with that is John Zakara isn't a criminal.
John Zakara saw Logan Hayes as an obstacle. And what do all mobsters do? They kill the obstacles. And then they just cover it up.
Logan Hayes was suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, a debilitating syndrome which often manifests itself in irrational and even psychotic behavior.
Logan Hayes was a patriot. After serving in Iraq, he decided, what else can he do for the country? So he decided to become a police officer.
He became increasingly more angry and more violent, and he took this out on the one person that he felt was his competition. Logan Hayes attacked John Zakara, an attack that was so relentless, one of the men was bound to wind up dead. John Zakara had no choice but to defend himself.
I remember when I was standing here, leaving my room voluntarily.
Do you know how awful it feels when you hide things from me? It's like you don't trust me enough to tell me the truth.
It's not about trust.
All right, Nicholas, can you please give me an update?
Lulu, don't play us off of each other.
Well, the difference is you respect my decisions and my feelings. Lucky, on the other hand, thinks I'm a hysterical kid who doesn't know what's good for her.
Lulu, we both want you to get well.
Then tell me the truth. Something happened.
Lucky, whatever it is, it's best you hear it from you.
Scott claims he has evidence that Logan was acting as an undercover cop.
What? That's crazy. Scott wanted Logan to be a cop, but Logan wasn't interested.
I know, Scott has proof. Probably forged, not that it really matters. But listen, if Logan really was a cop, that makes his killing murder with special circumstances, right?
He's right. If he gets convicted, he could get the death penalty.
The prosecution calls Assistant Coroner Robert Banner. Dr. Banner, how long have you been a coroner?
3 years in Port Charles, 10 years before that in Buffalo.
So, when you say that Logan Hayes had been dead for 2 hours when you found him outside the clinic, is that more than an educated guess?
Oh, that's right. We can pinpoint the time of death between 6 and 9 p.m.
Well, what was the cause of death?
The victim died of a single stab wound, probably from a large kitchen knife.
Is this the kind of knife that killed Logan Hayes?
It's possible.
Well, how about this one?
That could be it too.
Really? Well, this is from my kitchen, and this is from the Port Charles Police Department lunchroom. Now, I have to ask you, Dr. Banner, isn't it possible that there are thousands of kitchens that have the exact same kind of knife matching the one that killed Logan Hayes?
Yes.
Yes. No more questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Baldwin, next witness.
I call Detective David Harper.
There must be a way to prove that Scott is lying.
Judge wasn't interested.
Okay, Scott wants revenge for Logan. He's not going to be happy until Johnny is dead, too.
You could still appeal.
Johnny is a Zakara. He's not going to last a week in prison.
And his family will protect him. The best lawyer money can buy.
I have to testify.
No, of course, absolutely not. Scott, he'll twist everything you say. The way to help John is to get well.
Okay, you know what? Will you just see Johnny for me and tell him that I love him and I believe in him?
Of course I will. Lulu, try not to worry. You need to save every ounce of strength for yourself.
Johnny is on trial because of me.
Honey, you look upset.
Every time things start to get better, they get worse again.
I saw you out here with your brothers. Is it too much for me to ask you to try to keep that secret?
Lucky and Nicholas would be so happy if they knew about you, but I understand why you don't want them to know.
Then something else is bothering you? Is it Logan?
In a way. Johnny's murder trial started today, and the DA's office...
What?
It doesn't matter. There's
It
nothing we
does
can do
matter.
about
I can tell. It matters a lot to you. Are you trying to protect me from something? Please don't do that. I'm your mother. Talk to me.
Scott Baldwin forged some document so that it looked like Logan was an undercover cop, which means if Johnny is convicted, he'll be facing the death penalty in my place.
The evidence indicated that the victim was murdered elsewhere and his body dropped at the clinic.
And on what do you base your conclusion?
My experience as a homicide detective.
Okay. So, in fact, elsewhere could mean anywhere within a 3-hour drive of Port Charles. Is that correct?
Or 3 blocks.
Well, for example, it could have been, say, a botched robbery or a gang killing.
As long as the gang member drives a late model high-end sedan with matching carpet fibers.
So, in fact, in your experience, detective, in homicide, if a person with severe stab wounds were to be dropped at a free clinic, wouldn't you conclude that that person who dropped them there in the first place was trying to get them medical help or save their life or something?
The victim had already been dead for at least 2 to 3 hours.
Well, yes, but you don't have any evidence that shows that my client killed Logan Hayes deliberately or otherwise. No proof that shows that he had intent.
We don't have an eyewitness? No.
No more questions, Your Honor.
You may step down, Detective.
Let him off the hook.
No. Richard's doing better than I expected.
This is a waste of time. Zakara killed Logan. Why don't we just find him guilty and move on?
Juror number 2, please save your conversations for the jury room.
Well, we're all entitled to our own opinions.
Not until all the evidence has been presented. Do I need to go over the jury rules with you yet again?
I'll thank you not to patronize me, Judge.
You can be quiet or I'll send you to lockup on contempt and replace you with an alternate. Mr. Baldwin, call your next witness.
The state calls Claudia Zakara.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?